It's been a long, long season. Well, it's September 2nd here in Minnesota, and tomorrow I'll be leaving on my first ever archery Idaho elk hunt with 3 of my friends. 2 are coming from Wisconsin, Josiah and Eric, and my other buddy Mitch just lives down the road. So later today Josiah will be rolling in and Mitch will come over and we'll pack up the vehicles. I'm just getting a couple more shots in with my bow before I got to put it in the truck for the long journey to Idaho. It's going to take us 2 days to get there, so we don't want to burn ourselves out driving 22 hours straight. So I'm pretty excited. The weather here is great. The weather for the trip's looking pretty good too. It's going to be hot the first couple days we hunt, up into the 90s, but right after that, Monday, it'll drop down to 35 degrees at night, and we should be in good shape then. I'm excited to see what happens. I've got high hopes for the trip. I don't really know what to expect since I've never been to Idaho and I've never hunted elk with a bow, so we'll see what happens. I'm pretty excited. Well, good morning, folks. It's the morning of September 3rd, and me and my buddy Josiah are just getting on the road. We got on the road pretty early this morning, and we've been driving for a little while now, and I thought I'd give you a quick update. It's pretty windy today, so definitely got a good headwind we're driving into across the whole Plains states, but that's no big deal. Hoping to get to, where are we hoping to get to today, Joe?
Casper, Wyoming.
Casper, Wyoming, I think is what we're shooting for. But we don't have a solid plan. We're just hoping to get the main chunk of the driving out of the way today, so then tomorrow we can just get up early from whatever cheap motel we end up at and get back on the road and finish out our trip to Idaho. And then we'll be hunting come Saturday morning, so it'll all come together pretty quick. Our buddy Mitch is a few miles behind us. His rig he's driving gets a little bit worse gas mileage and may or may not make it all the way to Idaho. We'll keep you updated on that. Could be an interesting trip. But he's confident. I think he's got about 300,000 miles on an old Nissan Xterra or something like that. I'm pretty sure that's what he's rocking. So we'll see how that goes. He was gonna wagon train it with us out there, but with him stopping for gas every 2 hours, we kind of just left him. So sorry, Mitch, but we may come back for you if you get into trouble. And then our other buddy Eric is not leaving until, is he leaving tomorrow, Joe?
Flying in
tomorrow night. He's flying out to Idaho tomorrow night, so I think he had to work today. So I don't know what I'd rather take, driving in this vehicle for 12, 14 hours or working today. I think I'd rather take sitting in this vehicle, to be honest. So yeah, other than that, we'll let you know when something exciting happens. We'll just be sitting here driving.
Hi, please like to place an order for delivery, please.
Alright, what can I do today?
Can I do the 2 for $5.99 deal and get 1 pepperoni and onion and 1 barbecue chicken pizza? As long as they don't dump it on the floor.
Yeah, that's my pizza.
I'm
Well, it's the morning of September 4th. We are back on the road in Wyoming, headed to Idaho. This is day 2 of our travel, and we're definitely ready to be done being in the truck. But we've only got about 4 hours left till we're at our final destination, so pretty excited about that. It's another pretty nice day. The weather's looking kind of hot for our first weekend, so we'll give us some time to kind of settle into the ranch and get a lay of the land and maybe take it easy the first couple days hunting, since it's going to be up in the 90s. So we'll still get out early in the mornings and evenings, but that midday I don't know what we'll end up doing. So for now we'll just keep driving, and we're finally getting some more exciting scenery than just flat land. We're getting a little bit into the mountains, so it's a little bit more exciting, something to look at. So we'll keep you posted.
How you feeling, boys?
That's it.
This is it. Welcome.
Well, we just pulled into our final destination in Idaho. Can't tell you where, but we're going to be hunting some private land. We got permission to kind of last minute, which is pretty exciting. And then our original plan was to hunt public land, but we're going to be hunting private and public, kind of a combination. And we have just enough time to sneak in a combination of glassing / little hunt tonight. So we all are switching into our hunting attire, and we're kind of just going to drop everything, get ready, and see what happens. Get up to I don't know, you want to describe the spot, Mitch, we're going to?
Yeah, we have a ridge that we're going to go up that's got a good vantage point, and there's been some signs of elk around that area recently from the locals here, and just kind of hopefully call them up into ours.
Yeah.
Call them onto our side
Yep.
of the fence that we're hunting on.
And yeah, we'll see what happens. It was kind of going to be, we didn't know if we'd have time today to really get a hunting, or if we would just be going to bed and getting up early, but
Weren't really planning on hunting, so
no,
now
not really.
it's like
So we're rushing.
gear up and go.
We are rushing to get going. So toss everything. We're going to take a couple shots at the targets to make sure our bows are still good, and we're rolling. We'll let you know what happens.
What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, what are your thoughts?
I didn't have any thoughts on that one.
Josiah does not have any thoughts.
Because if the wind's kind of going down, really, I would just want you guys to be probably like 50 to 75 yards below me. Okay. So then I'll be more staying up here-ish calling, assuming they're going to circle around below me. Yeah. You guys.
right, well, if we look like heck, it's because we just took about the worst possible way you could find up and then down a mountain to get back here.
In our defense, it was dark,
It was pitch black
both up and down.
with one working headlight. This is, what day is it? Is it Friday?
Friday.
So we drove yesterday all day, drove today basically all day,
Yeah.
got to our hunting spot
Mid-afternoon.
mid-afternoon. We had no plans to hunt today at all whatsoever. And we were like, well, if we get everything set up in time, we'll just go sit up. We can hike up this ridge right behind where we're staying at this cabin here, and then kind of glass for some elk. We're just thinking they might come out to this hayfield, which we can't hunt. But we thought, oh, we'd get close to it and then see if they come out, and maybe we can call them in. Or maybe we can see some. And then that turned into, why don't we hunt? Basically, why don't we bring our bows with? Just thinking it'd be a total Hail Mary. And then, our buddy Mitch, who's picking up the fourth guy from the airport, he isn't even here yet. Mitch was like, well, I mean, he knew how to set up. He was like, checking the wind, and I was honestly second guessing him. I'm not gonna lie, I'm sure you were too. I could feel you second guessing.
It's a lot different than hunting whitetails in Wisconsin.
Yeah, we've never hunted elk before in our lives. So Mitch is like, oh, it's not set up here. Okay, then he said, to me, he said, Ben, you go down and get real close to that fence line, within bow distance. And he said, Josiah, you get straight up from him, 60 yards?
Probably turned out to be about 40, 45.
Oh, is that all you were above me? I couldn't see you.
It was camouflage.
Yeah, exactly. Except for your white hat. But
Green.
yeah. And so we get set up, and I actually felt kind of okay about seeing something, maybe, I guess. I didn't know what to really expect. And then Mitch was way up on top of the ridge, and he was going to be the only person calling if we saw anything. Well, we weren't sitting there we didn't get set up for 5 minutes?
Probably, yeah, about that.
It took me a lot longer because I had to walk all the way down.
Yeah.
We got set up for about 5 minutes, and we heard some bugling way off. Then we heard some cow calls in the woods, and then a little spike came out right into the field. And I ranged it was 600 yards away across from us. Well, then it didn't take much longer, and there ended up being 10 elk that I counted.
Out in the field at one time.
Out in the field. There was a massive herd bull. I don't know how big he was. And then, a few 4x4s, as they call them out here.
Yeah, 4x.
A Wisconsin 8-pointer. And apparently we're not supposed to say that out here. 4x and just all kinds of, cows, different size spikes. It was incredible, and we were all watching them through the binoculars. And I had my camera, and Mitch was up top with his camera. And then, not sure what that was. And then, I could barely hear Mitch calling, and I was like, oh, I wish he would call louder. Well, apparently he was moving around up there calling, and again, shouldn't have second guessed him. Well, then he switched over to his Carlton call or whatever it is, which is louder, and he hit that. And I was actually looking through my binoculars when he hit it, and I saw a bull or a satellite bull, basically, turn, and he started running at us, and I was like, holy smokes. And then he kind of went down this little. There must be more of a hill in that hayfield than we could really see. So he kind of disappeared, and I was like, maybe I'm just seeing things, but I thought that thing was coming right at us across this field. So it's like 20 minutes later, and what time do you think it was when I saw
10
that?
after 8, quarter after 8, which
probably.
means that shooting light is
Getting low.
real low already.
Yeah, it was. I bet it was close to, when I first saw that thing, it was, I don't know, a little after 8. But yeah, we had time to shoot and everything, but all of a sudden, there he is 100 yards away, and I'm like, holy smokes. And he's walking along that fence line, which is we can't shoot across that fence. And I'm watching him, and it's 40 yards to the fence for me. Well, then he hops over the fence, and another bull, or, satellite bull, I think it ended up being a 4x.
Yeah.
A 4x, and then
that came up.
That came up, and then there was a second one that was smaller than that. And maybe one more that I couldn't for sure see. But anyway, they both hopped the fence and then started walking towards me. And I had a bush there. That was my 35-yard bush on our side of the fence. And he had to take, I got to full draw. First night of being here, we didn't even plan on hunting. I got to full draw, and he needed to take I was about ready to try to. I had my diaphragm in. I was about ready to
Chirp him.
chirp him, and he got his head past that bush, and he would have been totally broadside 2 more steps, and he stopped right there, and I was just standing there full draw. Then he turns around, goes back, and then starts coming uphill, and I was like, well, all right. So then I turn this way. I had some brush in front of me, and then all of a sudden he's uphill from me, and he's actually standing there broadside, and I didn't range uphill from me, which I guess rookie mistake, but he was standing there, and I guess I could have shot, but I could just see from half of the animal up because of the tall grass, and I didn't know how far he was. He was either he was between 20 and 35, but it's hard to tell in the mountains. Yeah. We're not used to that, so I ended up just watching him, and I pulled up my rangefinder and tried to range him when he put his head down, and it was just black. It was too dark, and so I couldn't do anything about it. Well, anyway, then Josiah was, you had to have been seeing all this almost. You couldn't see me, but...
I couldn't see you, and I couldn't see the bull. I saw it down when he was on the edge of the field, but then from the bush I was kneeling behind, and then moving to a standing position, trying to figure out, and based off of the way that he was coming in, and where he was headed, and where I thought he went up at, Ben's down here to my left a little bit, so I'm standing behind my bush thinking that he's going to come out in this lane, and telling myself, or thinking that if he does come my way, I should be able to see him, or I should be able to hear him. Then all of a sudden, right in front of me, behind the bush I'm standing behind, it's darker at this point. All of a sudden I see kind of a shadow move behind it, and at that point I'm like, oh boy, because it was just crunch shadow movement, and I try to pivot my one foot up and over, and I step, and it crunches. Looks around, takes about 7 more steps, stops, puts his head down, can't really see him, and I'm just freezing at this point. And then all of a sudden he's like, something's not right. So he makes a noise and then starts walking off up the hill. Can hear him for a little bit, can't see him, and then all of a sudden he comes back straight above us, and he was actually silhouetted.
Yeah, it was real pretty. I could see that. And Mitch was up there somewhere. So, but he gets up. But even when he was standing in between us, I thought he saw me, but you must have thought.
I thought it was the crunch.
He either saw me or you crunched, but he never ran. But he did like it wasn't a bark, but it was like a half bugle. It was like yeah. Or I don't know how to even.
I don't know either.
It was like almost a bugle, but like more of like an alarmed one. And then the other bull that was in there with us kept doing it back to him.
Yeah.
They were doing it back and forth, like, "Hey, what's going on? I don't know." It's kind of. I feel like that's what they were kind of saying to each other, and they felt like something was wrong. But our wind was never in their favor. We always had the wind. I kept checking it the whole time I was sitting there, and it was going down the valley. And but they kept doing that, like. I don't know what the noise is, but it's like a half bugle, like yeah. But I don't know, it's weird. And then they did do one bark, which apparently is a bad sign. The one way down there did, not the one in between us. And then they were on the top of the ridge, silhouetted. And Mitch is up there somewhere. And I don't know if you saw him or not.
I'm not sure. But then we sat there in the dark for a half hour.
Oh, at least.
Shaking.
Shaking.
Trying to make sure that we didn't spook him in case we happened to find him again later on this week.
I don't think we spooked him.
I don't think we did either.
And I don't know, when I met up with Joe, we had an obscene route we took out of there. But
it was dark.
It was dark. And we'd never been out here, but I don't know if it was because my legs were so tired from walking up and down the mountain, or if it was because of the adrenaline, but they were shaking so bad I thought I was going to fall down that mountain. You were shaking terribly bad when I saw you.
Kinda.
It's great, but for a night where we did not plan on doing nothing, possibly getting here in the dark, because we didn't know how long it would take to drive here exactly and how it would all work out, or best case scenario, we thought we'd go glassing. Really. I got to full draw on a 4x at 35 yards and had him walk past me at, I'm sure within 20, probably just outside 20. And you had the same one walk what?
Within or around 15 yards.
And
straight behind me in a way.
I don't think you can
really
really
say away towards me, and then
And we saw 10 elk and a herd bull. That one that was out there was huge. That was a big bull that was out there. He didn't have he didn't want anything to do with us, but it's fun watching him push his herd around.
Yeah.
So it's late now. We
Yes,
took
it is.
We took a terrible route out of there. One of the guys is still at the airport. What time is it?
Almost 10 o'clock.
Oh my gosh. Well, we gotta go. We gotta get to sleep. But
Yeah.
good first night. So we'll get him in the morning.
Yeah.
Well, we came out to one of the highest points of the ranch and did a little bit of glassing and found a couple herds way out on some neighboring properties and some hay fields. But they're slowly starting to work their way up into the cover to look for bedding for the day, and we're just kind of watching them to see where they go bed, and then we'll come up with a strategy to make our move to get in close to them and call them in and shoot one.
Yep. The wind did exactly the opposite of what the Weather Channel said it would do. So
Wind said southeast. We get up here and it was west, out of the west.
yep. So anyway, we're seeing a bunch of elk, so it's a good sign for the first morning. In other news, we got our fourth member. Eric made it from the airport.
I introduced him in the garage last night.
Oh, okay,
also.
nice.
But yeah, got the 4 musketeers here.
Yep. We're all ready to roll. We're running at full steam today.
Full strength.
Yep. So
Yeah, mostly.
we'll see what happens.
It's just like one little tick of the branches here and there. I think that's just squirrels like jumping on dead branches and dropping shit. I mean, if it's an elk, it sounds like sledgehammer smacking into the ground. Like, it's very obvious.
Well, Mitch, what are you up to?
Well, guess we didn't harvest elk this morning, but we did happen to harvest a couple grouse. Grouse had a quick little flurry of a flock of grouse that we came up onto, and Ben took down the first one that we later realized you got.
Yep. kind of a story there, but
And then I had the second one, kind of drilled it right in the head and neck area, and
perfect shot, of course.
perfect shot. Didn't move anywhere. Walked up, got it. And then Ben, you can tell about your grouse if you want.
Well, yeah, I came up on that. I was kind of leading that part of the stretch there, and I saw a flock of grouse. So I kind of poorly communicated that I saw grouse, and then just kind of panicked and grabbed my judo.
The rest of the group sees Ben full draw and thinking like, is there an elk or what?
I don't even remember what I said, but I muttered something, and anyway, flung an arrow. I was pretty sure I hit this grouse, but it just kind of ran off, and then it just broke into a full-blown shootout chaos. Everybody was flinging judos, and
There's 6 to 8 grouse in that little
yeah,
pocket.
yeah, and Mitch smoked one, and then Josiah and Eric, who are probably passed out right now from exhaustion of the day, they were flinging shots, and I don't think anybody else connected. It was kind of thick brush, but I thought I just wounded mine, and I couldn't find it. Went and looked for it for a while. Then I sat down on this log, and I was sitting on that log. And I looked behind me, and I was like, "Holy crap! That grouse is right there!" And it was right on the ground behind me, hunkered up against the log that I was sitting on. So I just kind of grabbed it by the head and gave it a ring, and accidentally ripped its head off. But a little bit softer necks than a pheasant that I'm used to, I guess. But yeah, got some of that. And this morning we started off on a tall ridge, tallest point in the area.
Yep.
I think.
Yep.
And we saw a bunch of elk. We saw quite a few herds, and we found one bull that we were going to go at. Kind of went after. Went up and down a few different ridges to get over to where we glassed him all morning and saw where he went in, and then Yeah, then we ended up busting him. So kind of ended up walking right over him. We didn't think he'd be in that far, but he made it quite a ways in. So
He saw us before we saw him.
yeah,
Classic mistake is we underestimated how far over he was and got to him sooner than expected.
yep. So that being said, we are ready for a little break and eat some grouse breast.
Lunchtime grouse fry, as fresh as it gets.
We'll
Be
be
delicious.
headed out for the evening hunt. That was the day. That was the morning.